I think like we're getting to this point now where I could probably watch through each of these streams and just be like which hoodie is dad am I wearing? I just refer to myself as Daddy because that's what I am as a
Daddy,
parent. This
Daddy.
is where this is where you find out I don't have any kids and I just go around calling myself Daddy like a weirdo.
I've never
But yeah,
actually met your kids or your partner, so or your
yeah, it's
wife, so to
true. Yeah,
speak. So
Bern and Dan have met her, so she's
yeah.
not made up.
Well,
Or they're at least amusing
people
me.
can be bribed. It's like Dev Boss Andrew, never met his partner. Again, unknown. Met Anya's partner. He's real. Heather's
Yeah,
partner.
he is
Diana's
real.
partner.
Yeah,
Not met Sarah Kay's
no,
partner. But yeah, anyway, it's more about you, Mark. Who knows? Who knows what you do?
who knows? Yeah,
I've been following you on your PlayStation ID.
have you?
Play a lot of PlayStation, I noticed. Yeah.
You been respecting my platinum trophies?
I
Do you
haven't
even know what that means?
I wouldn't even know where to look if you've been PlayStationing or not. So, anyway, hello everyone.
I once got. I am friends with Del Dewar on PlayStation, and he once sent me a message on WhatsApp going, "Working hard, I see," and I was just like, "Go away, I need this." That was years ago, though.
Welcome everybody to 30 Days of Tools live stream. It is day 27 of 30. We are not far from the end. Yep. Mark and I have been doing the challenges every day. We have not done. We have spoke about all of them. We've not explicitly done all of them. So like I think there's one where we need to compare some tools, which I'm sure we'll pick up when things are a bit quieter after Test.bash tomorrow. So yeah, that reminds me, Test.bash is tomorrow. 12 hours of automation goodness. Lots to be seen. I can't remember how many talks. I think there's 13 live talks. Another 6 on top of that. So yeah, I think there's like 18 talks in total.
Yeah. It's got some fun stuff to add in as well around some cool polls, and I'm thinking about some challenges as well, some extra challenges.
Trying to think of something, a bit more that just stops at being a bit passive and listen. Like we want you to listen, obviously, because there's amazing content. But yeah, we're also interested to see, what else there is. What other things we can get you doing, just to keep you a bit engaged. Anyway, though, but today, challenge 27. Oh, it's been 27 challenges now. I think I might let you read this one out.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
thank you.
Promotion. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I can deal with the pressure. All right, so day 27. The question or the challenge was, which tool providers do you feel support the community? And then Simon's added a few little extra things to consider. So these are the tools that embrace the community by providing space to learn and connect with others around their tool. And what do those tool providers do to demonstrate their support for the community? And what else could they do that would make a real difference? So I'm going to go for the low-hanging fruit personally.
I know what this one's going to be. Go on.
It's going to be Source Labs.
Oh, it wasn't the one I was expecting. Okay, go on.
Oh, what were you thinking?
I was thinking Appy Tools. TAU
Appy Tools.
made an incredible difference. But, let's do Source and we'll come back to it.
Well, I would say for Source because I think what I've seen about what they do is around supporting Selenium Conf, and outside of like test bashes and the Ministry of Testing stuff, like when I think about like awesome community conferences, like the Selenium conferences ones really stand out for me. And I've been very lucky to speak at a couple of them, and I've really enjoyed them. But what is nice to see is actually to see like the guys at Source are kind of quite directly involved in like how that sort of conference works. They support them financially, but also I think like in terms of like the organization of it all and things like that. I know some of the people who are on the committee are also part of Source and stuff, but I always find as well it's done in a way that I never feel like Source's agenda is being pushed. It's sort of a case of, I think I've mentioned this before in the other streams, is that if this community thrives and people use these tools and succeed with these tools, then organically that's going to help Source Labs as well. But also, being involved in the committee and stuff as well, they also understand what's coming down the line as well, so they can prepare themselves for it. So obviously Selenium 4's just come out. They knew what was on the roadmap for Selenium 4 and knew all of the stuff around the W3 documentation and stuff, so they were able to react to that. So I think it's quite a sensible way. It's not about necessarily lead generation for them.
Yeah.
It is, if this is a healthy community and we have good communication channels with them, then that works really well. And I've always thought that's, it's a good model to sort of practice.
Absolutely, and they've done smart things to make that happen. Like they hired, contributors to Selenium. They give them time. Like Wim. I know Wim contributes a lot to WebDriver.io. Christian, I think, still works at Source, who again contributes to WebDriver.io. Wim does a lot of Appium stuff. I think Josh Grant was doing some Selenium binding works at one point. Yeah. So I think, but that's it. They give them time to actually do that. So they hire them, and it's for the reason you described. If Selenium's healthy, and you have a product that is predominantly, based around that product, then the healthier that is, the better it's going to be for you. But I think they do a few other things, like just, I think we'll go through a few of the, the tool vendors that jump to mind. They've also built a lot of apps. So, me and you use the Wim's Source Labs test app, which is another thing. They've made things available, again, to practice the actual, have a place to practice doing automation. And I think that makes a big difference as well. And then, just, the obvious one, being the CEO of MOT, right? I know lots of things about awesome tool vendors, but Source have been a supporter of lots of things for a long time. So obviously MOT, they've contributed a hell of a lot to MOT, and we're very grateful for it. Like purely talking financially, because that's the thing probably people are wanting me to say. But contributing financially, they're annual partners. They sponsor events, but they always do it in a really cool way. I think that's the thing that you said that makes them stand out. Like San Francisco a few years ago, they brought like a Selenium challenge. It was like a broken code. You just had to correct the code. It wasn't stuff like that. It was here's this, and we bought the really nice metal water bottles, and they brought their hot sauce along. It was. They just wanted to be a part of it. Again, it's the same motive. They want a healthy community. They know that they can contribute financially to that because they're a significantly bigger company than Ministry of Testing, for example. So they know that if they're contributing to us, and we can then go do the things we do, eventually it will go full circle, and they're a huge believer in that, which is awesome. Yeah. So the one that jumped out to me, similar vein though, is AppyTools. So obviously, I've been involved with AppyTools for a very long time. Like, I awesomely got invited, funny enough, to a Selenium meetup in Israel, and got to hang out with excuse me, with the founders of AppyTools, with Moshe and Adam, which was great. So I remember being sat Tel Aviv. If you know much about Tel Aviv, right? Massive beach, and right on the edge of Tel Aviv, like it's a huge city with just a beach like running the whole way down the side. I remember being sat in a bar with them, just talking about their vision for AppyTools. This was, I'd have to go back and look, but like it must have been 2015 or 2016. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it was 2016 because we ran into each other. You just come back from that conversation, and you were like, "Oh, mate, this tool," and I was sort of, "Well, I don't understand that." Just my brain boggled for a little while. It took me a while to join some of the dots and stuff. But I think because it was ATD 2016, I think that you told me about it.
Looking at it now, it looks like maybe the end of 2015, 2016. I've got an email here about my flight to Tel Aviv. Let's have a look. It was 2015.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah. So, but either way,
8 months.
But they got invited out there, and like this is early on, and they were running the Selenium meetup there, which was great. And again, they were supporting it. But see their development. They hired Andy Jones and lots of other awesome people. But like, remember chatting to them about the university idea, and like to see it actually come to fruition, and it is actually making a huge difference. Like but I think it's an important model that same with Source. It's just slightly different tactics. They're building the future. They're trying to build the future automation engineers, more skilled automation engineers, bigger market for your tool. That's not the only motive, right? But that is one of the aspects of it. That is, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't deny that. But there's obviously lots of other benefits. They're providing a hell of a lot of value, helping people change their lives, reskill, get new jobs, get higher pay rises, get the skills to move to other countries, perhaps whatever it is. TAU is having that kind of impact.
Absolutely.
I know how that impact feels as well, because we get a lot of that from MOT. So I completely understand how the team inside Appy Tools will be feeling, because it's a great thing to do. And also, as people say, when something goes really well, people try and copy it, and people have been trying to copy TAU, and that's a sign of something being pretty successful.
Yeah, definitely a few more sort of academies and universities have popped up of late, for sure. Yeah.
And again, though, big supporters of MOT. They've when Addie's not there anymore, but when Addie was at Appy Tools, she was always trying to ask what we were up to, get involved, sponsoring test bashes, lots of your webinars, and again, they're annual partners, which is awesome. But then I think of some of the other ones who I'm not fully aware of, some of their initiatives, but they're always there to help. So TestRail is a great example, and I know they're now part of a bigger company whose name is completely eluding me. Ideria, I think it's called, or that's definitely probably not how you pronounce it.
We had this conversation a few streams ago, didn't we? Yeah, because
IDERA, Ideria.
Yeah, Ideria.
So they've bought a few tools now, I believe. Let's have a look. Yeah, so they own. Oh yeah, because obviously now they own X-Ray now, because I know they bought them recently. Again, X-Ray is one to bring up. They've been huge supporters when they were in their own right of MOT, and I believe that they've had free versions of their tool as well, which again is another thing that a lot of these tools do, is free versions that allow you to get up right. This group now owns Travis CI. They own Runner X, TestRail, X-Ray. Lots of interesting tools.
I think some other ones that pop into my head as well is ones that I'm aware of have good communities, but not totally involved. Postman was one.
Yeah.
I've mentioned Circle CI a few times. I think they have a very good community and support one another quite well. Another one popped into my head and then now it's gone, which has now stopped me in my tracks. It'll come back to me.
Test Project is one that's come into my mind. Again, more from a big supporters of community-based conferences. So I've always pretty much been at the Selenium Conf, always doing something fun. I think it was taking Polaroids with people. The one in London that we were at recently. And again, their products, the way they've built them, allowing people to build little libraries, build little SDKs that other people can download and use, and build up their own automation. And even though they got bought I think by Tricentis, they've still kept their kind of ethos for a while. Again, I hope that lasts, but right now they kind of got that ethos still, where Test Project is predominantly free, and you can be a big part of that. Again, there's loads of them. I think they all do the little things, when you dig into it, Cypress is another one. You probably don't see them sponsoring too many conferences, but they have their ambassador program. I know Marie Drake has been in part of that a lot, and that again is, I don't know how that works, but they have a meetup network and stuff like that, and again, free tiers, excellent community, lots of support, good documentation. And you can't argue it's not made a difference, right? Because they exploded. So
it makes me think as well, sometimes we have to sort of remind ourselves that we have our testing community and Mott sort of involved in that, but then there's obviously other communities, and we sort of kind of float over each other at certain times and stuff. And I wonder, like organizations like Cypress and Postman, a lot of their success is because they've been able to sort of engage developers talking about testing as well. And I think that's really awesome as well, is that it's they've managed to craft something that cuts across roles, and that's not necessarily what every community should be doing, but I think that's it's cool that they've managed to do that, and actually just sort of demonstrates actually the sort of the wide net of all the people who want to talk about testing, who want to talk about quality, who aren't necessarily just automators or testers.
I'm trying to think. There's loads of them. Obviously, we'll pull out a few very specific ones in a second. But Browser Stack's one that's come to mind. I think they've gone a little bit quieter in recent times because I know they're having a huge product push. But again, they were always quite common. A bit like actually TestRail with their webinars. They're pretty common doing webinars. And again, they put an effort into them to not be about the tool. As you said, it was about the space, like the white. And you can still, of course, every one of these products you can still log on and book, a slot for a demo and an actual, proper explanation of the tool. But they were also doing, free webinars and things like that. And I think that's a big thing to bring up because, again, I don't know if people are interested in this, but there's always, in fact, Rosie used to talk about this a lot, like nothing's free, right? There was always this idea that nothing is free, right? But a lot of the tool vendors, tool providers, they are shifting that mindset a little bit to just being, again, as we said, contributing to the ecosystem because they know it will come full circle. But of course, yes, free webinars, we all know it's designed to get an email address, right, which they can then, potentially just try, send you an email to in the hope that you engage. It's not an awful tactic, right? People do it, we do it. You want to watch one of the recordings back, you need a free MOT account. Yes, you can turn off your comms you get and stuff, but again, it's just to build up, the shape and size of the community and get a feel for what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to think of anything that's I'm trying to think of who's really, because prior to MOT, I remember getting a lot of support from a few people. For example, I mentioned Source Labs; they were big supporters of AIT. They gave us free accounts for AIT. So did Postman.
Yeah. Applitools as well.
Yep, Applitools. Trying to see what else has been around there.
Is it Testing also supported us as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So again, Testing were a great example where they invested, in their community. And I remember when Tristan was there, I remember they had a lot of things that people didn't see. They had a lot of small community gatherings, just a few people talking about, a niche aspect. Yeah, and I think they did a really good job of driving their community. And again, now Provar is another one who in recent years have just stepped it up. So I think 2 years ago they chipped in for a small sponsorship at San Francisco, but nothing. Again, it was just more awareness, lowest package, just to have a presence. But then in recent years they've stepped it up. They've hired community people. Chris Armstrong, Tristan, and a few other people, and now I think they're in that mold now where they're trying to be how can we go full circle? What can we be doing now to shape, the Provar and users of the future or the automators of the future? I think that again, it's really insightful and it all helps. And I've been harping on, and I'm going to continue harping on all through next year. But they are a huge part of our community, and it can't be overlooked. Yes, they've got tools and they need to sell and they need to generate revenue. But a lot of them are doing good stuff as well. And they are contributing to the health of our industry. And more importantly, the people in it. They are making a difference to the people in it. I'm going to call out a few because, we definitely absolutely should. And I think it's interesting as well just because it helps us, think of where we're at. So, we mentioned Source Labs already. Again, so these people are supporting 30 Days of Tools, which is fantastic. So if we just pick out the ones we've mentioned, so Source Labs, again, mentioned them, X-Ray, TestRail, we've mentioned Provar, just mentioned. Mabel, so again, not that old of a tool, but again, they started doing a lot of webinars. I think they had a university planned. And again, they were contributing a lot and sponsoring a lot of meetups, I think. I saw Mabel giving a lot of support to some of the small.
Yeah, there was a lot of webinars and stuff that sort of side as well. Yeah, and then Inflectra, they've supported for a long time as well on occasions, which is always good.
And global app testing take a different approach. Yeah, they've written a book. Oh god, these names just jumped out of my head. who's the guy who runs Global App Testing? I want to call him. Oh no, I want to call him Winston, but his name's not Winston. Right, I'm going to Google this. Mark, you entertain
The book's called Leading Quality.
Yeah, but who wrote the book?
Ronald Cummings John
Ronald!
and a waste peer.
His name's Ronald. Ronald Cummings Johnson, yes. Yeah, so he's like contributed to that book, and I think there's another one that they're working on as well, and I think they're really contributing in different ways. And their video for an event they sponsored recently, they got all their testers. So if you're not familiar with global app testing, it's kind of like a crowdsource kind of is crowdsource the right word these days? Yeah, crowdsourcing kind of testing service, as well as I believe they also put testers on lots of projects as well, and they have long-term clients. And yeah, they interviewed all their testers from around the world because they're a global company, and that was really cool. Like to hear them answer. I think it was Exploratory Testing Week. Actually, they were talking about their experiences with Exploratory Testing Week, and that was it. They had an opportunity to produce a video, which, could have just spoken purely about global app testing, but they chose to showcase the people that make global app testing, which again is like a really subtle difference, but really clever.
Yeah, I like that.
And then some new ones. So again, like I actually don't know too much about these. I mentioned in one of the earlier streams, I definitely want to find out. So, Keysight, they've done a few things with us recently. Mesmar is fascinating when I had a quick look. Seems to be around Android accessibility automation, and there's lots of talk about AI.
And they did an interesting challenge. Actually, I was like, I'm looking forward to if we pick up the sponsor challenges maybe next week. That one's going to be fun because like mobile space is just so weak in that area. So yeah, that's going to push me.
And Test Rig is another one. Again, I've not seen the tool itself, but I know the creators of the tool, they're quite active in talking about their tool, not the tool, the space their tool occupies. They're trying to kickstart conversations. So again, it's great to see, and we've been mentioning it on the stream. The whole reason behind 30 Days of Tools is being tool aware. There is so many tools out there, and there's so many coming, and it is just going to explode. But also starting to see like companies like Idea, and I think was it Progress who came up the other day, like these companies, these parent companies now that we don't know too much about, and suddenly snapping up all these test tools, which again is usually a sign that they think something's happening, right? Whoever's backing these companies clearly thinks that there's going to be a boom in testing, and we know there is. It's already happening. Yeah, it's exciting space. It really is a lot of tools going out there. So to have a look at a few other people's comments. So Jazz has chipped in. Source Labs Test Rail Test Project, ByteRise. I think that's. I think they're quite predominantly mobile as well, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure.
No, it's not one I'm aware of. No.
I think I'm pretty sure it is. But again, interesting comments, giving back to the community, amplify the people in the community and give them a platform as well. And again, I think that's the key message that we're repeating ourselves. I'm repeating myself, but like they are such a part of our community, and like a lot of people have their backs up, their biases when any tool that costs money comes up. But they are contributing a hell of a lot, and it really shouldn't be overlooked.
And I think as well, like when you hear those sort of criticisms as well, it's like, they're not going to get everything right, but I think if you look deeper into like these vendors and what they're trying to achieve, if they've got that sort of community sort of vibe going as well, then they might not get it right every time, but at least they're listening, and I think that's important. So we can't just we have to keep our biases in check, and I'm guilty as charged of that, as well. It's hard sometimes. That sort of stuff kind of gets a bit deep rooted, so you have to really push it.
Yeah, it does, and also it can easily be triggered just by a bad actor. One bad experience with a tool can really derail every other tool. And that. Well,
I mentioned HP like phoning me every day for like a month. I still haven't forgotten that, and that happened 7 years ago. But it's still there. So yeah, you're right.
I think Hans captured in a sentence some of the things we've been mentioning here. They offer more than a tool. I think that is, kind of hitting the nail on the head. Like a lot of these places now, it's not just a tool. You've got to be more. You've got to have that, resources or engagement with the community, or some sort of university academy, whatever it is, or who knows what the next big thing is. But yeah, you've got to be more than just your tool.
Yep.
I'll let you pick up Christoph's.
Well, yeah, he mentions Postman. This is the thing. Like, I know that they do events and stuff, because obviously Neil Studd works for them now in a DevRel capacity, I believe, or is he still testing? I can't quite remember. But obviously Neil does the TID podcast and stuff. Yeah, I think he is as well. Whereas Danny Dayton, who we've known for years as well, and has been a fantastic contributor to the community as well, he's there and does a lot like around the sort of tooling sort of side. But I know they have their conference, their PostCon. Is it PostCon? Or have I just made up a name? It was PostCon, but I think they changed the name slightly.
And then there was some sort of Galaxy themed.
Yeah. Well, they're always sort of putting on those sort of events and stuff, and we see a lot of people that sort of contribute through Mott also get involved with them as well.
Postman Galaxy.
Postman Galaxy, that's it. But yeah, from customer stories to educational content and stuff. Yeah, it's that sort of, and again, it goes back to what I've said before as well, which is that the best way sometimes to teach is, or like to sort of communicate the value of the tool, is not listing its features, but talking about contexts in which it was used that highlight features. And I think that's the more valuable way of sort of approaching it.
And that's, insight for people next year. I think I mentioned it on one of the earlier streams, like that's an avenue we're exploring next year with our annual partners, is to get more, to work with them in the community to find people who are using the tools, to get those real experience stories. What kind of difference is it making? Like, to give you an insight into, like, yes, it cost X, but it's enabled us to do A, B, and C. But actual factual, not the slogan that says if you get tool A, you will save percentage X and all this of your time and get suddenly have 8 days in a week. Like, nothing like that message. Like an actual real.
Oh, I'd love that tool.
Real genuine message. What's Mickey's chipping in? So he, again, interesting. He's gone down
Perfecto,
the webinar.
Yeah.
So Perfecto, Test Rail, Smart Bear, lots of content. And again, I think that's interesting. There's a lot of articles that a lot of the tool vendors support and produce, and again, a lot of them are paying people to do that, which is important. QA Touch had some really community-based stuff too. I actually don't know what QA Touch is, so.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Is it a tool? Sure, is it a community? I'm not entirely sure. It looks like a tool.
Label testers today.
Let's have a look. Bug free. I'd love to be bug free. Okay, so it looks like a kind of like test management tool, I think. Yep. Bug tracking, test management suites, etc., dashboards. Lots of fun stuff there.
It's something that's just occurred to me. You were talking about the big, these big companies hoovering up all of the test tool stuff to build portfolio stuff. I think it's very interesting that you tweeted yesterday that IntelliJ looking to speak to testers, or IDEA looking to talk to testers about stuff. And I wonder if they're going to have a go at their own test management bug tracking tool or something, and then add that to the suite and stuff, bolster their subscription model some more and things.
I think they've been spying on us, Mark. So, not just to go off slightly off the rail of the challenge. Like, we've in AIT, in automation and testing, we've been saying a lot for a long time. Like, historically, quick, like automation 101. Like Alan Richardson's talk nails this much better than I will. But we went from test cases, predominantly writing very heavy, detailed test cases, giving them to a human to run. We then went and gave them we then decided we can automate that. So we tried to do that, which obviously had hit and miss kind of aspects to it. But we tried to automate exactly what we thought the humans were doing. We then realised the humans were doing a lot more than what was written on that test case. and then we started automating stuff, and then we've ended up in the world of code where you try and be nice and succinct and clear and, you know, very simple names. But the thing that got lost, you know, well, me and Mark, I believe we still agree, we'll find out. But the thing that got lost is that intent, that risk. So you used to have that at the top of your test case, right? Your description, and then your test case was probably linked to, you know, other stuff. So what a lot of teams do now is they're linking the original test case to their automation, which becomes part of the test run. You know, they're integrating with, you know, for example, tools like TestRail and so forth. I wonder if they're looking at trying to solve that problem. Like when you click on an automated check, especially anything above the unit level, anything, you know, API, UI, visual, etc. Like what can they do that allows you to just see that information? So, you know, it could be a plugin with TestRail, it could be an integration. You know, you could click on it and you could pull in information from a third-party test management tool. That would be cool. That would solve the problem.
Yeah, it's a very good point, actually. Yeah.
But there is that's the thing I've always bugged me. Like it's not obvious what the intent is. You can try your damnedest to well name it, but you know I resorted to we resort here to just adding comments. Like, you know, people turn their nose up at that, but like just a clear comment explaining why this check exists. You know, there's a great example that comes up in the AIT in the actual training course, where in your title I think you say you get a 404. And then in the expectation or somewhere, either way, there's a status code that's out of sync, and you don't know whether the product is wrong or the assertion is wrong, and it's not named well enough for you to know. So
who would do
you
that?
have to guess. Yeah. Hey.
I thought you were referring also to one of my checks that I created for one of our exercises.
Well, I don't know which one that is.
The one which it says it's a 201, but actually
that's the one I mean. That's the one I mean. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one. Yeah. And again, but if you had clear intent, then that might have been easier for someone to decide what is right or wrong. Anyway.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what they do. And
I think I did have clear intent. It's just unfortunately the intent changed and the code comment didn't.
So here's an interesting addition from Mickey. You know, not just going beyond conferences now, so things like giveaways and hackathons. You know, we've seen quite a few hackathons. Global App Testing actually ran quite a few hackathons. I remember Vernon's quite close to that company, and I think he's been to Colombia and a few other places to do the hackathons, which is kind of cool.
In South Africa, if I seem to remember.
Yeah,
South Africa. Yeah, maybe something like that.
And again, it's just a nice, you know, different thing. You know, like come along, actually do some real testing. Win some prizes, you know, have a bit of fun. And again, we always say this, sadly, you know, hopefully whenever the next test bash does actually happen, you know, we can have some actual hands-on, you know, just actually do some hands-on testing at a conference, not just walk around and listen, like practice our craft. So he's praising Test Project here for their newsletter, is Mickey. And then he's saying, I think this is interesting, and if any of you awesome tool people are listening, and I know it's in our annual partners we do this, but you know, giving away scholarships, training programs, pro memberships. You know, again, it's the same thing we mentioned before about going full circle, training the future generation, you know, of testers, quality engineers, QAs, whatever the title is, who will always be indebted to whoever made that happen for them. You know, it doesn't mean they'll use your tool, but they will always probably talk positive about it because you've changed their life. You've enabled them to, you know, get a job in tech, like, you know, get the benefits that come from still working in tech. You know, still one of the highest paid industries. So I think that's an interesting space that I think will. I know, like I said, we know like people are doing things around this, but actually that next step of, I don't know, having a cohort of, you know, graduates or whatever.
I think so. Yeah, it's because that's an aside, but I always sort of think of there's always generations you see through some of these things as well. Like there's people I see right now of a certain, like what I consider a generation, like the people contributing to 30 days at the moment. That sort of idea. So actually being able to do that, and it happens in a lot of things. Like I know like I watched a lot of sort of stand-up comedy podcasts talking about the craft and things, and they talk about like, well, what year did you hit the circuit? What's your year and stuff? So it's not about generation of age, but it's generation of sort of kind of that cohort and stuff. Yeah. So being able to establish something more like that in the future would be amazing.
Absolutely. So again, you can pick up these challenges whenever you like, and I think maybe slightly different angle to this question, like what tool providers or tool vendors or testing companies, whatever it may be, have helped you, like directly helped you. And as I said, for me, early on, sponsorship on my blog from people like Source Labs made a difference, asking me to write for them. Apply Tools, giving me a presence and a stage in another country, little things like that, helped me, perhaps be noticed a bit more. Like I don't want it to sound like they're paying for I was getting exposure, right? Because that isn't the case. They literally bought me a flight, and hotels, and actually gave me, paid for sponsorship. So it's not like they're trying to get me for free or anything. But they made a real difference. I got to experience actually the best shashuka I've ever had, and I still can't replicate it. I tried to make my own. It's not the same. I need to go back to this exact restaurant and sit down. And also, like Moshe took me to, I think it was a Michelin star restaurant in Tel Aviv.
Oh, wow.
And I might be wrong, but I had a deconstructed carbonara, right? But anything deconstructed sounds like just wrong. But it was incredible. It came in a little frying pan, and like everything, all the little aspects of a carbonara had been like pulled out, but it was so good, so good.
I got some socks.
I still want the socks. Don't mention this. You're gonna say Postman socks.
You don't want my Postman socks anymore.
Postman socks.
They
never gave me any. They never gave me any. I bring it up a lot. It annoys me. When Neil joined, I said, Neil, get me some socks. I've told Danny several. I've literally warned. I've threatened Danny. It's like, Danny Dayton, like you're in big trouble if you don't get me some socks. But
I'll tell you what. You can have my tatty Postman socks if you take me to a Michelin star restaurant. There we go.
Quick question. Well, just to end this, right? Like, just a slightly different tangent of supporting the community. Best swag.
Best swag. Ooh. I'm gonna go a bit vanilla, but it is definitely the hot sauce. I've still got I got 3 bottles of Source Labs hot sauce, and I do think that the thing I'm most jealous of in terms of swag that I really like to get is I can't remember which company it was, but you had some. Like you got some T-shirts for Test Bash San Francisco, and they were like it's like a ship on it, and they just look like like navy blue.
They're Smart Bear. You're not mentioning Smart.
Smart Bear's one. That was a lovely looking T-shirt, and I was really jealous. I didn't get to
just ship it. I think it's
just ship it. That was it. Yeah, that just looked amazing. But it's probably the hot sauce.
I'm trying to think of what people have done. Like my favourite, I've just realised is actually something that I bought. Well, Heather actually bought, but it was the Source Labs mugs that we got. They were really good. The squishy from Joe Calantonio.
Yeah.
The plushie.
So, the plushie for speaking at one of the guild sessions and stuff. That was great. I'd keep it away from the girls though, because
I got a really good hoodie off Joe Calantonio actually as well. But I think the actual best swag I've had was probably. MOT bought it because we partnership with Source Lab, but like these water bottles that Heather found, you get a lot of crappy water bottles, but they were like proper stainless steel. The paint stayed on. They were really nice. But I think it's always good when you just see something a little bit different. Like I've had charging cables, which have been battery packs.
There's little foam puzzles, like make a cube. I remember those from Belfast. They were good. I enjoyed that.
Look what's on my desk. I got a stress ball from one company as well. Oh, I think that might be Source Labs as well. Bloody Source Labs in their swag. The baby grows from Apply Tools. They're kind of cool. They're different. Anyway, right. So there we have it. Tool vendors definitely are supporting our community, doing a hell of a lot of awesome stuff. Not all of them. We could definitely probably do another question like who isn't, and I could probably name some companies who I wish would be more engaged and active, but the ones that are, they're making a real difference. It's not all about trying to shift their tool or sell their tool or get leads. Like a lot of them do genuinely care. I'm telling you all now, we are going to be putting a lot of effort into next year to try and make it more obvious that they do care, especially for people who have biases, like Mark and I mentioned, we've had in the past, and also the people coming into our industry, because it is going to double, triple in size in the next, number of years, and we want to do our best to make sure everyone has a clear understanding.
I'd like to retract my swag statement, actually. It's probably this hoodie from hindsight. I mean, because it's just so comfortable. It's like the most comfortable hoodie I've ever owned.
Nice.
It's nice and baggy as well.
Excellent. Do you talk about anything around that in your any publications, anything about your swag or anything like that, or has it come up in any of your writing recently? No?
Oh yeah, I forgot I'm writing a book, aren't I? I've got no energy now for it. I've got no energy for it.
Anyway, right, we're done. So
I'm having a week off. That's why.
So yeah, Test.bash is tomorrow. So if you're looking for a great charge, great big energy boost, lots of insight, lots of knowledge, lots of fun. But if you're pro, register. It's completely included in your pro membership. If you're not, there's still time to buy a ticket. But yeah, we're going to have a great day tomorrow. Me and Mark have actually decided we're going to pre-record our stream for tomorrow because I'll be streaming, producing Test.bash, and Mark will be amongst it, being involved and doing lots of stuff, answering people who don't know how to log in.
And
well. Once he's done that,
sharing the logging details for everyone.
So yeah, we'll hopefully see you all tomorrow, and then we will Friday. I'm guessing we should probably double down on Friday. Because it ends on Saturday, doesn't it? Can Richard read a calendar?
Oh, well, there's the bonus one on Saturday.
Ooh, yes. Okay.
So
let's do... We'll do Friday, and then we'll do one on Monday next week, or the Tuesday next week, where we'll do the bonuses as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we've still got the sponsor ones as well to do. So
that's what I mean. We'll do all the bonus ones. All right.
Bye,
everyone. Have a good afternoon.